I'm overwhelmed, but it so happens that I just have a couple of notes here. Never come unprepared. I would like to say a couple of things about this 100th anniversary of SDX or SPJ. I've known it for so long as SDX that I'm still learning to say SPJ. But before I say those, I would like to have a couple of minutes to say a few other things about my memories of this organization. And before I say that, I have to make a confession. My confession is that I never took a course in journalism. But I did grow up in an editorial office. So in a sense, my whole life has been a course in journalism. And to me, the work we do as journalists is the world's greatest profession. It gives us the chance, I always think, to go and find out anything we want to know and then pretend that we're working. I guess I learned this from my father. He just had a rule of thumb that a good reporter is the noblest work of God, and he lived by that. So he was one of the earliest members of then Sigma Delta Chi, and I used to hear about it from a very early age. When the first chapter was founded, right over here at Greencastle at DePaul, he was at Ohio State, and he was working on the student newspaper, the Lantern. And immediately, or at least shortly thereafter, the students at Ohio State decided to found a chapter of Sigma Delta Chi. And my father subsequently became editor of the Lantern, and then in 1912 became one of the first two graduates in journalism from Ohio State University. And some of you may know about the other one, whose name was Jake Maxwell. He was a longtime managing editor of the Columbus Dispatch and a distinguished journalist. A generation later, I became a member of Sigma Delta Chi at Cornell, which did not have a journalism program. But we did have a very fine student-run newspaper called The Sun. It was then, and still is, the only morning newspaper in Ithaca, and it's a member of the Associated Press. Now, in these crucial years in our profession, I think the editorial and publishing world are going through the most revolutionary changes that we have seen, certainly in my lifetime, and I think perhaps in a longer period than that. The methods of transmission, the technology of the work that we do are changing radically. And we have to scurry around to make the adjustments, but we have to remember that the technology is not the central part of our work. Nevertheless, the way we work and the conditions of our lives and conditions of our profession are imminently and eminently affected by the laptop and the PCs and the handheld computers, and then, of course, by such things as blogging and web pages and text messaging and all of those things that are changing the way information flows. Now, with all of this electronic revolution comes gossip. And gossip used to be very local. It was back fence type of thing. And then it became a wider distribution system. Now we have global gossip. And I think one of the professional problems that we have is in knowing how to cope with that. I think it's intensified by such things as Wikipedia. And any of us can go on and change the information that people are using as legitimate and authoritative information. Well, I'd like to quote a comment made by a fellow journalist, a friend of ours named Mike Harris, a former Richmond Times-Dispatcher. He said recently, blogging is not journalism. Blogging is a form of self-expression. I still do journalism. I also blog. It's not the same thing. Well, now looking ahead, I feel confident that we will figure out how to filter the bogus from the real. I don't know how it's going to be done, but I'm sure that we will do it. And because, first of all, there's a huge reservoir of common sense, and it's hard to put your finger on. But in the long run, people do sort things out and make good judgments. I'm reminded of the Depression years of the 1930s and the New Deal, when Franklin D. Roosevelt was running for office in the 1930s. 90% of all newspaper editorial comment was opposed to FDR. And he got elected and reelected and reelected. So people do have a way of making up their own minds. But we worry about the demise of the printed word, and certainly I do, night and day, and particularly at the office. But I remind myself that our profession, our mission, is content, not mechanism. We're responsible for information, for the substance, for the message, and the message is not the medium, despite what used to be popularly said. The medium is not the message. We are charged with providing reliable information, objective judgment, and this is the lifeblood of civilized society. So we have an endless job, and we have a responsibility, but I think we also have a great privilege of having this responsibility. So to all of you and to all of us, I extend congratulations for choosing this work, and to all of us I extend best wishes for a satisfactory and successful career. Thank you all very much.